feel supercharged now.
Hello guys, really excited to be doing this video today. Basically, when I started my channel, I wanted it to be a nice blend of three things: climbing, scrambling and wild camping. Done a decent amount of climbing, done a decent amount of scrambling on the channel, but I've not touched on wild camping yet. We're going to change that today. The plan is we're going to be rating different pieces of gear and gadgets which we've been using before as overrated or underrated. Now, that'd be interesting in itself, but to make it more interesting, I'm not going to do it on my own. I'm going to bring in someone else who I wild camp with most of the time, and that's going to be my partner, April. So, without further ado, let's see it. Hello! So, plan for today is going to be, April has very kindly made these little cards, which are extremely artistic and will be a lot of fun. We've each come up with 3 items which we either take wild camping or we've previously taken wild camping to talk about, and the other person does not know about those 3 items to make it a little bit more exciting. So we're each going to have one of these. Do you want to start?
Okay. First item.
So madam, first item. What's on the agenda?
Okay. My first item is a hammock.
Ooh! What's good about the hammock, April? You're 3, 2, 1. Is that what you want to do?
1.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Overrated.
What did you go for? Overrated?
Overrated. Fantastic.
Same. Okay, right. Why?
Okay, so
Why so much
hammocks
hammock cake?
aren't as good as you think they are. Compared to a tent, you might initially think they're cheaper and more lightweight. I mean, that is about a kilogram lighter than our tent. But in winter, you're going to be cold, and in summer, you're going to get eaten by bugs. So you need an underquill and a binge net to go with it, and then the gear to string it up if it doesn't come included. So it does quickly get heavier and more expensive. I've not yet found a reason to take a hammock instead of a tent.
I feel like I hate hammocks less than you hate hammocks. I think hammocks are like particularly comfy. If you can get it right in the summer, it can be like the best night's sleep you've ever had. But I just think it's really, really niche. Like, if you're on some moorland and there's no trees, or if it's cold, you can't really use a hammock. So, hammocks, great for Instagram.
Good for photos.
Maybe in a cave, but I generally think, as an item, they're a little bit overrated. Anecdote from when we camped in a thunderstorm. Me and April was extremely comfortable in our tent, protected from the rain, and one of our mates was in a hammock.
Between 2 trees.
He was
in a storm.
He was not having a good time in the hammock, so we'll leave it there.
Okay, what have you got for us, Archie?
First item I've picked is, I feel like it's going to be quite a controversial one. That's going to be a jet boil. So we'll do cards
Okay.
before I give anything away.
3,
Go on.
2, 1.
Okay, so straight off the bat, I just think jet boils are horrendously overrated. As an item, I think they're just really, really expensive for what they are. They do get the job done. They're not like horrendous, they definitely work, but I just think for what you could get for the same money
And the same weight.
there are better products available. So I've actually got my setup with me because I thought, well, we'll have a quick look at it. But I've essentially got some legs. These cost me £2. This is a wild camping international pot off the internet. I think this was a tenner. Inside the pot, Etna mini stove. So this is from OEX, and I believe this was £20. This is really, really light, and then just whatever gas canister you're using. So I've got one of these micro canisters. But what I prefer about this setup, it all fits inside the pot. It's much lighter, it's much less bulky, and it's much, much cheaper. It's about, what we're saying, half the price. But look at this, look how that slides in there, that's beautiful.
Nice.
Right, next item.
Okay, my next item, the humble climbing tape.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. I can't really form an opinion on this because I'm kind of interested as to what you're going to say. I feel like for climbing, tape is really good if you've got like a finger injury, but what are you going to say about camping, sorry?
Okay, so this was inspired by something I read a while ago, where like a secret kind of wild camping climbing thing you should be taking with you is a roll of duct tape. Now, If you've got a rip in your tent pole breaks, duct tape is fantastic. But the problem I had is the rolls are massive, so climbing tape is much more lightweight, it's easier to break with your teeth, and you can use it on skin.
So I quite like that. So that doubles up as like
First aid kit.
First aid.
And
So you could have it in your first aid kit, and then it could also repair your poles and your tent and everything else. Yeah, I like that. Is that lighter than?
I'd say
duct tape?
so. We have lighter, smaller rolls. This is just the one out of my climbing bag.
Snap cut
That's
to
it.
testing this theory. Okay, next item is going to be a question more on this one, but get ready. So, next item is cotton pads. Ooh. And we have some Vaseline jelly. Are we ready
You
to
sound
rate?
excited.
I'm so excited about this. Okay, 3,
3,
2,
2,
1.
1.
Wow.
You've gone for under, so I'm assuming you
have
already
gone for
know
under.
what I'm going to talk about with the Vaseline jelly.
He doesn't go anywhere without Vaseline.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Vaseline. No, I've not got horrendously sore lips. The main reason I take Vaseline and cotton pads when I'm camping is for an emergency fire starter. Now, Vaseline itself is not flammable, but as long as you've got a wicking material like cotton pads, the fumes that come off Vaseline are flammable. You get yourself a cotton pad, if I can get in here.
This is the dangers of going camping with a science teacher.
Yeah. You're going to essentially get a little bit of Vaseline on the cotton pad, the more the better, and then you've got yourself an extremely cheap little fire starter there. So you can sling these into a fire or pop them at the bottom and build your fire around it. I think every time I've used this method, even in the midst of winter, still works. So compared to your normal stock fire starters, these are fantastic, way cheaper, probably lighter as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vaseline and cotton pads if you're starting fires. Quick disclaimer on fires. This is not a video on fire safety or the ethics of wild camping and fires. If you're not sure whether or not you should light a fire, the answer's probably no, and I'll link some videos on good fire practice in the description. How's the bin?
Over there.
Okay. Oh, shit. It's your turn. What are we going for?
Thank you. My final item. Hand warmers.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. What did you go for?
Slightly mixed.
Okay.
Leaning towards underrated.
Oh, yeah, I feel like you like hand
I
warmers.
need a little bit of a kind of justification.
Okay, talk me through it.
Okay, so I have cold hands all the time.
Oh, yeah, actually.
So whether I'm out on a walk or a wild camp, I do tend to have a pack of hand warmers in my bag. Now, for a single use item that costs about £1 a pack, they are quite expensive. But on a night, my hands need something warm. So I'd sleep with them in my gloves, and I will leave them in pockets if I'm walking home in the morning. But I can see why not everyone would want them from an environmental point of view or a cost point of view.
Fair. I'm just going to go with overrated. I don't particularly use hand warmers just for the fact that I just don't get cold like April gets cold. I know you get really chilly in the tents and things.
Really cold.
For me, at least, as long as you've got a decent sleeping bag and some decent gloves, you know, you should generally just be warm enough anyway. Although when April does have a hand warmer, I do immediately want to steal it. Final item. You ready?
I am.
Okay. Right, my final item. Again, I feel quite controversial in the outdoor communities. Is going to be an Nalgene.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Going for mix.
So I've gone for just underrated. I feel like Nalgenes are a very controversial topic because it kind of goes against the ultralight ethos of a lot of wild campers. But I think all campers and all wild campers need some sort of luxury item. You're going to need to take water on a wild camp. Yes, a plastic bottle is lighter, like a little cheap Coca-Cola one's lighter, but I just prefer having something solid. A litre is like what I'm going to use on most trips, and it just gets the job done. I've dropped these off literal cliffs, and it's been absolutely fine. You can attach a life straw to the top, and then the best feature I think of an Nalgene, which is what we tend to do when we're winter camping, is we will heat some water up on the stove, but that water's going to go into the stove about half full, because you don't want to like over pressurize the container, and then that can go inside your sleeping bag to keep you nice and warm, which is kind of why last time I said the hand warmers were a bit overrated, because I'll normally have one of these. Opinions?
I do agree. I agree with all of that.
Nalgene.
My only gripe is that Nalgene's can be pricey. I looked at buying one for my sister at Christmas, about £18, and as someone who doesn't...
Have we ever bought one?
I think we've bought 2 of those
Okay.
from the shop. The rest have been sustainably sourced, second-hand, passed down, just gifts.
But I suppose the thing with an Nalgene is they're so rugged that they just do last that long. So the fact that 4 of our 6 Nalgene bottles we didn't even buy, we just got given, and you got quite a few from the climate centre you used to work at, didn't you? Just kind of is a testament to how rugged they are, and they just last. So that's that. That's it. That's all our items.
I think that's everything.
What a cool video.
We could talk for hours on this.
Obviously in the comment section, if you disagree with anything or if you've got anything else to say about the items we spoke about, whack it in the comment section, because I do love good discussion, and I'm sure everyone else who watched this video will too. Hopefully see you next time for another video. Another 6 items, because I can quite enjoy.
Just get the full cupboard out.
I want to start moving through the cupboard. Yeah, we'll see.
Just start moving the gear behind us.